Greetings, adventurer. My name is Jack, and you are on the Infinite Staircase. Deep in the shadowy corners of the multiverse lurks a creature whose very presence warps reality itself. The Beholder, an icon of fear and paranoia. This floating nightmare, with its unblinking central eye and writhing stalks, is a master of destruction and manipulation. Each of its eye stalks wields a unique magical ray, making it a creature capable of turning even the most prepared adventurers into statues or ash. Perhaps the most unnerving thing about beholders is their method of reproduction. They dream, and in those dreams their deepest fears and desires manifest. A single nightmare can spawn a rival beholder, born fully formed, brimming with hostility. To a beholder, even its own offspring is an enemy to be destroyed. Prepare yourself as we delve into the madness, power, and sheer terror of the beholder. We'll be covering their paranoia-driven behavior and the way they shape their foreboding lairs, amongst other things. And at the end, talk about some unique variations that go beyond their typical archetype. Beholders are spherical aberrations with a diameter typically ranging from 6 to 8 feet. Their bodies consist of tough, leathery hides, often mottled with irregular ridges and bumps. The central feature of its anatomy is a single, large, unblinking eye located at the front of its body, capable of projecting an anti-magic cone that suppresses magical effects within its field of vision. Below the central eye is a wide, circular mouth lined with sharp and uneven teeth, designed for tearing and crushing. Protruding from the upper portion of its body are 10 flexible eye stalks. Each one ends in a smaller eye, and each of these eyes is specialized to project a distinct magical ray. These rays vary in their function, including effects such as paralysis, disintegration, and sleep inducement, providing the beholder with significant offensive versatility. Beholders are capable of levitation, allowing them to move freely within 3-dimensional space without the need for limbs or wings. Their movement is smooth and precise, controlled by an innate magical ability. Despite their grotesque appearance, the beholder's anatomy is highly specialized for both survival and dominance, with their central eye and eye stalks allowing them to maintain a constant awareness of their surroundings. Beholders are defined by their paranoia, egotism, and a deeply ingrained hostility toward everything around them, including their own kind. Their sense of superiority is absolute. Each beholder believes itself to be the pinnacle of perfection and views all others, even members of its own species, as inferior or outright threats. This mindset is rooted in their aberrant nature, which makes them inherently distrustful and obsessive about their own survival. The beholder's paranoia extends to every aspect of its life. It sees plots and dangers in even the smallest of actions, leading to an insatiable need to control its environment and eliminate all potential threats. This paranoia is amplified when it comes to others of its own kind. No two beholders are identical. Each sees its own physical and mental traits as the correct form, while perceiving the differences in others as grotesque flaws. These differences fuel a natural enmity, which makes coexistence impossible. Hostility among beholders is further compounded by their method of reproduction. A beholder that dreams intensely may create another of its own kind, born fully formed, and often with minor physical or behavioral variations. To the original beholder, this new creation is not an offspring, but an abomination, proof of imperfection within itself. The new beholder, for its part, is equally hostile, driven by the same belief in its own superiority. This often leads to immediate conflict, with only one surviving the encounter. This pervasive paranoia shapes every aspect of the beholder's behavior. Their lairs are meticulously designed with traps, ambush points, and defensive measures to counteract any perceived weakness. They rarely form alliances unless they can fully dominate and control their allies, and even then, their paranoia often leads them to sabotage or discard those allies when they are no longer useful. In their minds, the world is a constant battlefield of superiority and survival. Every interaction is made with the assumption that enemies are always present and plotting their downfall. This ceaseless vigilance is what makes beholders such formidable and terrifying foes. They are always prepared for danger, even when none exists. Each aspect of its anatomy and magical nature is designed for dominance, ensuring it can engage multiple foes simultaneously while maintaining complete control over its environment. The most iconic feature of a beholder are its 10 eye stalks. Each stalk ends in a smaller eye capable of projecting a magical ray. Their charm, sleep, slow, and paralyze rays may be used for crowd control on weaker opponents, while death and disintegration ray can eradicate their strongest foes outright. Unlike the destructive power of their eye stalks, their central eye emits an anti-magic cone that suppresses all magical effects within its field of vision. This ability is particularly devastating against spellcasters, rendering their spells useless and often forcing them into close combat, where the beholder's physical prowess or offensive rays can easily overwhelm them. In addition to its offensive capabilities, a beholder possesses extraordinary defensive traits. Its levitation is not reliant on wings or physical movement, allowing it to hover and maneuver effortlessly over any terrain. This ability enables them to maintain high ground on opponents, where their multiple eyes can remain trained on all enemies at all times. The beholder's tough, durable body can withstand significant physical punishment, and its quick reflexes make it difficult to outmaneuver. Alongside otherworldly physical and magical traits, the beholders possess incredible intelligence and general awareness. With their 10 extra eyes, beholders have 360-degree vision around their body, which makes ambush near impossible. Constantly aware of threats in their environment, and with a mind devoted to torturing itself, imagining danger at every turn, any enemy hoping to deceive a beholder should do so with extreme caution. Beholders are not bound to any one plane or location. They are a multiversal phenomenon, their influence spreading across countless worlds and dimensions. In the material plane, beholders are often found deep in isolated lairs, carved into mountains, underground caverns, or ancient ruins. These lairs serve as their fortresses, meticulously designed to reflect their paranoia and ensure dominance over a given area. Here, they manipulate local creatures into servitude, creating ecosystems that revolve around their will. The infamous Waterdeep crime lord, Xanathar, is one terrifying example of the beholder's capacity to manipulate, infiltrating and controlling a large area of the city, home to many mortal races. Beyond the material plane, beholders are known to exist in extraplanar realms. Some venture into the astral plane, navigating its vast emptiness to pursue their own inscrutable goals or to avoid rival beholders. Others might be drawn to the chaotic landscapes of limbo, where their reality-warping minds can bend the environment to their liking without any interference. The alien geometry and incomprehensible chaos of the far realm is thought by many to be the original birthplace of the beholder race. It is said that every beholder's mind is a fragment of that realm's essence, somewhat explaining their unnatural biology and otherworldly intelligence. All across the multiverse, beholders are symbols of extreme paranoia and domination. Their great unblinking eyes and grotesque floating forms, a constant reminder of the power and terror of aberrant creatures. Certain beholder kin that differ from the typical members of their species in size, intelligence, or personality include those such as the Gorth. Smaller and with only 6 eye stalks, this variation endeavours to exact tribute from any being weaker than itself, often attacking adventurers merely to acquire wealth of magical items or gold. In some cases, a beholder may have dreams in which they exist beyond death. On the rare occasion these dreams take hold, the beholder starts their transition into a creature known as the Death Tyrant. The flesh on their body and eye stalks rotting away, leaving a great naked skull dotted with orbs of red light where their eyes used to be. Death Tyrants maintain their spellcasting capabilities and gain a new, ravenous hunger, fueled by the power of undeath. The variants known as Hive Mothers are much larger and more powerful than their standard kin. Rather than living in solitude, this aberration seeks to control and dominate lesser beholders, creating great colonies under their control, typically limited to the far realm or other places of extreme chaos. Beholders adapted to life in deep underwater environments transform into creatures called Eyes of the Deep, growing large pincers and retaining the magical capabilities of a normal beholder. They stalk the abyssal depths, seeking prey and sustenance. Gazers are the least imposing variant. Tiny, almost playful creatures with a limited intelligence and only a few weak eye rays, they are often kept as pets or spies by larger aberrations. Arising from particularly bizarre and warped beholder dreams, spawn those known as Death Kisses, nightmarish creatures with large fangs and thin eye stalks which feed on blood and lack the typical magical rays. And lastly, the Mind Witness, a horrifying fusion of beholder and mind flayer, created by subjecting a normal beholder to the process of ceremorphosis. This new creature gains powerful psionic abilities and integrates into a mind flayer hive mind, ceding their free will to an elder brain. They often act as relays, extending the mind-controlling influence of the mind flayer colony. Now your time here comes to an end, and I hope the knowledge you've gained gives you the advantage should you ever face one of these nightmares. Remember that to face a beholder, you should need to rely on all your powers. A battle of wits against a creature endlessly paranoid of danger to its existence. Whilst you're focusing on defending against their rays, remember to question their next move and try to stay ahead. I bid thee well, adventurer, and good fortune in your battles to come.